For this video, we will discuss the theory of operation and things that can go wrong with the external unregulated power supply for the Atari 5200. In the top left-hand corner of this schematic is the external power supply. Zooming in on this area and cleaning up the schematic, you will see the components that constitute the power supply. Starting from left to right is the step-down transformer. The purpose of this step-down transformer is to take the 120 volts AC line voltage at its primary winding and reduce it to a much lower voltage at its secondary winding, which in this case is approximately 15 volts AC. The next component is an axial lead fuse. The axial lead fuse in this case is a type 3AG fuse with a lead on each end. A fuse is an electrical safety device that provides overcurrent protection for an electrical circuit. Its essential component is a metal wire that melts when its current rating is exceeded to stop the flow of current. This type of component, once burnt open, will have to be replaced. The next component to the right of the fuse is a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. The purpose of this capacitor is for reducing EMI or electromagnetic interference. In this case, the capacitor is used as a frequency-dependent device that acts as a high impedance to low frequencies and a low impedance to high frequencies. Think of impedance as a frequency-dependent resistance. Listed in the table shown are a few examples on how the impedance changes with frequency for the 0.1 microfarad capacitor. In the case of the 60 Hz, the 0.1 microfarad capacitor acts as a 26,525 ohm resistance to 60 Hz across the secondary winding of the transformer. Since 60 Hz is a low frequency and the capacitor acts like a high impedance to it, the signal ignores the capacitor. However, if a much higher frequency noise signal, such as 10 MHz, is present, the capacitor will act as a low 0.159 ohm impedance, shunting the high frequency noise through it. The next component in the power supply is the bridge rectifier. The purpose of the bridge rectifier is to take the absolute value of the 15 volt AC signal, creating a full wave rectified signal at its output. On the output of the bridge rectifier is an electrolytic capacitor. The purpose of the electrolytic capacitor is to act as a smoothing filter in order to create a steady direct current or DC while the power supply is under load. In this case, the load is the Atari 5200 console. Now that we discussed a little theory of operation, let's discuss what to look for if your power supply is not working. Obvious things to look for on a non-functioning power supply are open fuse, a bad or intermittent connection at the strain reliefs on both sides of the enclosure as shown here, a bad or intermittent connection at the strain reliefs on the AC plug or DC barrel connector as shown here, or a bad electrolytic capacitor. In upcoming videos, I'm going to discuss the Atari 5200 power regulation circuitry and power control circuitry.